My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, welcome to, it's kind of an exciting video for me because this is the first time I have ever purchased a handful of products from a brand for the explicit purpose of reviewing them on my channel. And as you know, if you watched my intro video at the very beginning of the year, I'm not planning to do this all the time. I'm planning to try to do it about once a month. I will be reviewing more products than that. I'll be reviewing other things that I happen to buy, things that I buy for myself with my beauty budget because I want to own them and because I'm curious about them. I'll be reviewing those things too, and I might even do dedicated reviews for some of those things or groups of those things. I actually might have a cream blush haul coming up. But this is different. I purchased some things in this Glossier order that I wouldn't have been motivated to actually buy if I didn't have a YouTube channel and if I didn't enjoy reviewing beauty products on this channel, if I didn't have a platform and a reason to familiarize myself with products that are relatively new to the market. One of these products actually has been reformulated. It's not new to the market, but it's something that I owned back in the day, and then it's been reformulated several times since then, and I actually got rid of the original formula that I owned and I bought it again to review for this video. And that's the kind of thing that I would ordinarily not do. I would ordinarily not repurchase something that I had even if it had been reformulated. So this is cool. I've sort of pushed outside of my usual way of spending my beauty budget. I've spent the portion of my beauty budget that's allotted for self-sponsored videos like this one, and I'm going to give a rundown of these Glossier products. I purchased 3 products to review for this video: the Future Dew, the Lash Slick mascara, and then the product to which I was just referring, the Generation G lipstick. I purchased one color of the Generation G lipstick. I also have some other Glossier products that I'm incorporating into this video. I have a cloud paint that I've retained through all of my declutters that I purchased myself. I have a setting mist that was given to me by a friend. And then I have a balm.com and one of the eyeliners. Both of those were given to me as PR products at one point or another because of my platform here. So I'm going to go through in the order that I put them on my face. They are all on my face right now. I've taken some close-up footage of myself putting them on my face, and I'm going to let you know what I think. I've been giving all of these products a really, really thorough and protracted try so that I can report back about them to you. Before we get into the meat of the video, this is kind of a long intro. As always, you can skip to the meat of the video by scrolling forward and finding the title card. It's really easy to do. But in this one, I'll try to remember to put a timestamp down below as well for people who don't care about the context. I was an early adopter for Glossier, really, really fresh out the gate. I was buying all the things. I looked back in my order history, my Glossier order history, when I went to place this order, because I haven't purchased from Glossier in a long time, but have had the same account the whole time. I couldn't believe how many orders I placed from Glossier in 2016 and 2017, and I couldn't believe how much money it added up to. It was absolutely bananas. Everything they launched, I purchased. And I would buy, I remember when they launched the lip gloss, the first time it launched, it was in a holiday set with this black ribbon and a haloscope that I didn't even like the color, and a nail polish. Is that possible? Did they at one point have a nail polish? And I bought the whole $50 holiday set just to get my hands on that lip gloss because it was newly launched and it wasn't available on its own. Of course, it became available to purchase on its own a month later, but I was just that girl. I was that kind of beauty shopper. I was that kind of overspender, and I was that kind of Glossier aficionado and addict. I just loved everything. I was picking up everything that they were putting down. Over the years, everything that I bought from Glossier, I've decluttered except for this one cloud paint and my other hero product from them, the Moon Mask, which I don't have right now. I went through 2 of them during my no-buy year. I had purchased 2 to tide me over during my no-buy year because that's how much I loved that moisturizing mask. I will probably maybe at some point buy that again. I really, really do love that Moon Mask. And so to me, the cloud paint and the Moon Mask, they endured in my life. And I repurchased the Moon Mask. I've used this cloud paint almost down to nothing. I actually did give away the brighter colors, but I kept dusk. That was it. That everything else I sort of slowly let go of. The concealer I love. I love the way that I'm realizing now that this intro is getting really long. I feel like this is this is basically the meat of the video, but it's okay. I'll do this. I'll give you all this context for me and Glossier now. This is basically the meat of the video, and then we'll transition into the meat of the video when I'm about to go through and review these products specifically, because this is technically introduction material. It's just that I've got a lot of it to share, okay? Everyone can just let me live. So I'm going to be calling this video Giving Glossier a Second Chance. I'm not giving a second chance to the concealer or the skin tint. I loved the way that the concealer looked and the way that it performed, and I also love that they've expanded the shade range. So I feel like they have, I think that the lightest one they had before was just light enough to match me. I would have loved to have a shade lighter to kind of give me that veil of brightening that I really like in a concealer. But when I used that concealer, granted my skin was a little bit more troubled than it is now, but it didn't quite break me out. What it did was it really clogged the pores on my chin. It gave me like those underskin bumps and blackheads. I can do it under my eyes. It's okay under my eyes, but down on my chin, which is really where I need concealer the most, I don't want to go through that again. I didn't want to give it a second chance only to find out that it does that, because it takes a long time to get rid of. It's not like acne where it's like a pimple that you can like deal with and then it heals and eventually it will sort of like absorb back into your skin and hopefully not leave a scar. It was never like that. It was like I had to get facial after facial after facial and get all of that stuff extracted and do a bunch of exfoliation, and it just wasn't worth it to me. As much as I would love to find out that that concealer doesn't do that to me anymore, it wasn't worth it to me. And the skin tint, I just feel like I know everything that I need to know. I either want nothing on my skin or like a green color corrector. As you'll see me apply, that's what I have on today, just a green color corrector. Or I want something with a little bit more coverage that I can build. And so that's sort of like all over the face, just like very, very light coverage. It's a beautiful product, but it wasn't something I wanted to like try again or give a second chance to. I have tried so many of the products, like the body wash products, that lotion, that weird silicone lotion pilled all over my body. The oil I felt like was nice but too expensive for how long it lasted. I've tried the milky jelly. It didn't feel like it was thorough enough for me, getting off all of my eye makeup. I've tried the priming moisturizer. That also I felt like was contributing to the bumps under my skin, because as beautiful as that product is, it was clogging for me. It just like clogged my pores a little bit. It wasn't the ideal skincare product for me. What else have I tried from them? Oh, the perfume I really love. I received a bottle of that perfume for my birthday during my no-buy year, and I used it all up, and then it was in my empties several months ago at this point. So that's one that I have tried and I still love and like fully endorse. I really love that. Oh, the serums, they're just, again, so mild, and even though they have cut the price in half by doubling the size of the bottle, I just don't put stock in those serums when you stack them up against something like the ones from The Ordinary, which still cost less. They say that they're giving you a vitamin C serum and super glow, but then the bottle is like clear glass. The hyaluronic acid, I just feel like you can get, the hyaluronic acid is just like flowing in the streets. Like there's so much hyaluronic acid going on in skincare right now. You don't need to buy like, still, even though they've cut the price, it's still like, to me, it's like a marked up and not necessarily like exquisite and quality version of a hyaluronic acid serum. Same with the niacinamide serum. So I just had no desire to like give those skincare products another try. Boy Brow, I've talked about it before on my channel. It doesn't hold my brows in place. It's not strong enough. The lip gloss, I ended up decluttering even after I had it, even after I had bought it, like under the circumstances I described, spending $50 for that whole kit. I did love the really shiny effect, but it was so thick that it would kind of like fall off my lips. So you can see I've had like a not great experience with most things from Glossier. Everything seems to promise perfection and specialness and aesthetic, and then fail me over time. That has been my experience up until now. Except for with the cloud paints, of course, except for with those two hero products, the cloud paint and the mask. However, we're about to transition to the meat of the video, so all of you, your intro is too long, people. Just get ready, get your panties on, get excited, because the video is about to start. But the last thing I have to say is I have discovered some additional hero products from Glossier and some total fails in this little testing session, that's protracted testing session that I have done with the products that are available to me either because I bought them or because I received them or because I still had them. I'm sort of feeling more fond of Glossier right now than I did before I embarked on this little review video project, which is good, but I don't love everything that I am going to talk about. So let's do it. Let's review these products. Let's talk about my experience when I gave Glossier a second chance. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. All right, Future Dew. TBH, this is the product that made me agree with my own suggestion to myself that I do this video. And it wasn't just the product. When it came out, I was very interested in it. And I was like, that's the kind of thing I really love. But then they were like, it's not primer. It's not primer. It's a skincare. It's skincare. It's like they were sort of trying to put it in the same category as priming moisturizer, which I've talked about so many times. I don't understand that for myself, because to me a primer is what you put on to prepare your skin for makeup. You either are trying to get your skin to look a certain way with makeup, or you're trying to get the makeup to apply a certain way. Put down, it's like the gesso on your canvas before you start with makeup. You're trying to like prime the skin and also provide like a protective layer between your skin with its skincare and the makeup that you're putting on. So that's like after sunscreen. Right when you're starting your makeup, the first thing you do is prime. And to me, a moisturizer, skincare, you put all of that stuff on before sunscreen, because sunscreen, it's like, yeah, it's skincare, but it's like not good for your skin. It's just protecting your skin from the sun. So to me, there's skincare, which is all of the stuff, including moisturizing, which is to me like a really important part of skincare because I have dry skin. So you do all your skincare, including moisturizing. Then there's this like thing in between, which is sunscreen, where you like protect your skin from the sun. Very important. Then you start the next phase, right? So priming moisturizer, to me, it's like conflating the two across this uncrossable boundary of sunscreen application. It's never made sense to me. And when Future Dew launched, they were pushing it as a hybrid makeup skincare thing. They were pushing it as like a priming moisturizer 2-in-1 type of thing. Like it's makeup-y skincare, it's skincare-y makeup. Even though I was really, really compelled by the bottle, it's so pretty, and by the pictures and even some of the reviews, I talked myself out of it. And I was on a really strict budget last year. I wanted my money for other things. I talked myself out of it because of that, because of the impracticality. Now I know that Glossier really bit themselves in the butt, at least when it comes to consumers like me, by failing to advertise Future Dew correctly, IMHO. They failed to push it as what it really is, which is a primer. A primer, a skin primer, a really unique, stunning, wet look primer that also has really good qualities in terms of like trapping moisture in. But it's a primer. It can go on top of sunscreen. That's how I've been using it. And the thing that pushed me over the edge was a review of this product by my friend Nina. I will link her down below. Nina Campbell, she has a YouTube channel. She is so lovely on camera. She gives really good reviews and she posts consistently, I think on Fridays. And I just love her channel. So go, I mean, regardless, you should go check out Nina. I really love her. But her review of Future Dew, it really convinced me because she said that it's beefy. And I was under the impression that it was an oil, like just like an oil that would like melt away into the skin. And Nina, bless her little heart, was like, it's still on your skin at the end of the day. It's thick. She was like, it's thick. It's thick, you guys. And when she said that, I was like, I'm gonna buy it. Because that was the thing that I felt like Glossier failed to communicate in all of their advertising. They failed to communicate that it's not actually an oil. It's like this beefy layer that stays on the skin and transforms the surface of the skin to make it really look wet, even when you put makeup over it. I'm not sure how like a full coverage matte foundation would do, but you will see me in the footage putting this Algenist green color corrector over it, even though the color corrector I think actually has like some clay content or something. It's a little bit mattifying and sort of like oil soaking. Even so, you can still see the gloss, the dewiness of the Future Dew shining through it. and they melt together. Whatever I put on top of it, concealer, like foundation, BB cream, it will melt together to it, kind of stick to it, and it stays. It stays all day. It doesn't disrupt my foundation or my concealer. It doesn't disrupt my base. It doesn't fight against it. It doesn't like push out. And again, because of the way it was advertised, I kind of felt like it would do that. I felt like it wouldn't be ideal as a primer. I love it as a primer. I'm gonna go ahead and roll some footage now of the comparison swatches between Future Dew and the VDL Lumi Layer Primer, which is my other beloved priming product, my like holy grail primer, although we all know there's nothing else grail. And I particularly wanted to do this because when I was talking about the VDL Lumi Layer Primer in my yearly favorites video, I was talking about how much I love that glossy, sheeny skin and not like a super metallic shine where there's like particles, like highlighting particles reflecting. And I love this because it's more of like a sheen, like a clear glassy sheen. And then one of you in the comments said that based on my description of this, you thought that I would hate Future Dew. And I was like, I must have done a really bad job of describing what it is I love about this, because I feel like what I love about this, I feel like Future Dew is that it's like doubled. It's clearer, it's glassier, it's wetter. And when I put this on my face, I feel like it's sort of like a slightly iridescent and color correcting sheen. It's really sheeny, but it doesn't necessarily look wet. Like it doesn't look like there's literally water on my face or oil on my face. It just looks really, really sheeny, but without the metallic shine of like the Becca priming, not First Light, but the backlight, like the Becca backlight priming filter. I just find that metallic. If I put it on my face, I look a little bit like the Tin Man. You know what I mean? Like those Tin Man illuminating primers. I love this because it's not that. It's like this soft, iridescent, sheeny layer. And you'll see when I hold up my hand side by side that it's bluer. And so it balances out my redness more. And that is what makes this my holy grail. Glossy Future Dew is a little bit peachy, so it doesn't do that. It doesn't balance out the redness. It doesn't do any color correcting. I wish it did. I wish they would make like a green version of Future Dew. Oh my god, I would die. I would live and die and live again if they did that. But what it does do is it just looks incredibly wet. It looks like an oil. Like Nina said in her review, it looks like you just finished your evening skincare routine, like packing in moisture, layering on oils, and then maybe like a sheet mask and then another layer of oil, and then your face is just looking like sheeny, glassy, wet, because it actually is wet, like wet with layers of oil. This looks like that. I find that when I put makeup on, and granted, gosh, I should have said this, but I think a lot of you know already, I wear very little base makeup. When I put on concealer, it's like a pinprick dot and then I blend it out, like very, very little. Again, I think if you were to go in with full coverage foundation, you might not get as much of the benefit as I get with this. In the demo, you'll see I only use the green color corrector and I really kind of blended them together. I love the way that it makes my skin look. It can be a little bit extreme. They say to use 2 pumps. I used 1.5 in the demo because I wanted you to really be able to see it. On a day-to-day basis, I just use 1 pump and that's enough for me. If I use 2 pumps, I look like my face is soaked in oil in a good way all day long. In terms of glassiness and sheen and glossiness, the VDL Lumi Layer Primer is more subtle. It's for somebody who doesn't really want to look like the glazed, that like super glazed donut look, you know what I mean? If it's a little bit too much for you to have that all over your face and you're trying to choose between the two, then you'll want the one from VDL. I also think the VDL is probably better performing as like a true primer. It actually is going to hold on to your makeup, work with your makeup, because as much as I think Glossier Future Dew works as a good primer for me, like I really like how it performs as a primer, they didn't design it specifically to be that. They designed it to be this just like prettiness on your face. So I trust the VDL for longer wear. I trust it more. But I am in love with Future Dew. I'm all about the Future Dew life. I really, really, really love it. It's like what I love about this, but kind of on steroids. And I'm really glad that I got the chance to try it out. And I have been wearing it a lot. By the way, you guys didn't know that I had another bottle of this. Simbri gave it to me. She had a full one and I saw her recently and she was like, I know you love this, so here you go. So after color correcting in the areas that need color correcting, I went in with the cloud paint. And I have talked about this so much on my channel, and I have demonstrated it a number of times on my channel. I've demonstrated it to look like this on my channel. I don't feel like I need to go on about it at length. When I was putting it on today, I was reminded that something that's truly amazing about it is how it sets down but without losing its skin-like quality. And to me, the thing that's the most emblematic of that is that I can put it on my eyes, as you'll see me do in the demo, tap it onto my eyes, blend it out as like just a quick like watercolory look all over my eyes, and it doesn't feel like it sets like dry, you know, like a liquid eyeshadow. But it also doesn't crease. It's almost like it stains. It sits into the skin as if it's a stain, but then it doesn't actually stain, meaning that you can just like scrape it off and very easily wash it off, and there's no stain left behind. So that's pretty remarkable for something to behave like a stain, leave behind a bit of a skin-like sheen, and then not crease on the eyes. To me, that is the thing that makes this distinctive, in addition to the fact that the colors are very beautiful. I really love Dusk. It's the only one for me. Dusk is really the only one for me. In the cloud paints, the other ones are too bright because I'm so pale. They will like make me look a bit clownish, a bit like I'm trying to look younger than I am. So Dusk is the right one for me. And then the last thing I wanted to say about it is that it works beautifully with a Future Dew. You'll see in the demo, I don't have anything else on my cheeks besides the Future Dew when I go in with this, because the Algenist color corrector I just put kind of in my T-zone, and you'll be able to see the way that it looks when it mixes with the Future Dew, that like sheeny, glossy, skin-like finish. I just love the way that those two look together. This product, I think I tried to declutter this. I actually think it was in my giveaway box, but I pulled it out because I knew I was going to be trying it some more and reviewing it for this video. I realized that I had it and I was like, yeah. Anyway, I tried to declutter it because the rose scent mixed with the fact that the mist is so very fine, it makes me cough, makes me sneeze. And it's not like I'm allergic to rose or something. I think it's how fine the mist is. So every time I spray it, I like it. I like the experience. I like the way it smells. It's all very nice. And then I'm like, like it gets inside my nose. It's super weird. So I have so many mists that I'm trying to get through and test. I was just like, why not? The bottle is more than half full. I was like, why not give it away to someone who will enjoy it? But then I pulled it back out and I put it with the other Glossier stuff because I was like, I'm gonna talk about it again in the video. Then I had an absolute brainwave and I started using it for a very non-traditional purpose, which I will demonstrate in the footage. I've been using it to spray my spoolie before going into the cake of soap that I keep on my vanity. And because of that, I've been able to do away with a little bowl of water that I was keeping on my vanity, because I just use this instead. And it smells nice, and whatever's in it, there aren't enough like oils and extracts and stuff to disturb my brows or like mess them up. In fact, I think it's good that it's like putting some nourishing stuff onto the skin behind my eyebrow hairs, because sometimes that skin can get a little bit irritated because I think the soap dries it out. So I feel like it's actually good for my brows, and it's just so much more elegant and less messy, and I can really control the amount. Often with soap brows, if I dip the spoolie into the bowl of water, it'll get like too wet, and then there will be like a bunch of gunky soap. It'll be too wet on the spoolie and I'll have to like wipe it off and dry it off, and it's this whole process. When I spray this onto the spoolie, it's probably because of that very fine mist. It gets just the right amount on the spoolie for me to get just the level of like wetness and dryness combined in the soap that's in the spoolie for me to brush it into my brows. And I really like it. I'm going to keep it out on my vanity and I'm going to keep using it for that purpose. And I will probably use it up in that role because I have been using it absolutely every day, because I do soap brows pretty much every day. As a face mist, no, I don't love it. But as a mist repurposed, yes, it's winning. Wouldn't buy it though. I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that someone buy it. I wouldn't have spent my own money on it, and I probably won't spend money to replace it. I'm just enjoying using it. I think Simbri gave this to me a while back. It's the moment we've all been waiting for, kind of. Not really, not me. This is the product that is the most emblematic. Isn't that the second time, maybe even the third time I've said emblematic in this video? I feel like the word emblematic is emblematic of this video. I would not have purchased this based on its description, based on its claims. I would not have purchased this if I were not doing a review video. So this is the product that's emblematic of my act of like buying products specifically to review. I felt like if I was going to revisit Glossier and purchase a couple of the products that have come out since I stopped buying from them, which is essentially what happened, and then also revisit a product that has been reformulated, the lipstick. If I was going to do that, I felt like I couldn't skip the mascara because it was such a huge release for them. A mascara it's such an important like member of like a line of makeup, I feel. And I was curious about it. I was not curious enough, again, to have like bought it for myself with my own money. Just if I weren't on YouTube, I would never have bought this. But I'm glad I got to try it out because I have thoughts. But first I have to change my battery. My battery's dying. Hopefully this will be a good place for an ad break. Let's stick it in. The ad break, I mean, and I'll change my battery and I'll be right back. All right, we're back from the ad break. Got a fresh battery in there. Lash Slick. I like mascaras that provide dramatic volume at the roots and then fluff out. So they advertise Lash Slick as being like a separating mascara, like it coats every individual lash and then it separates them and it makes them really like long and slender, like a skinny, like individual, I guess. And I don't want that. I don't want clumps, like spider clumps, but I do want my mascara to like wed my lashes together into a panel that goes splink splink. So I wasn't expecting it to do that. I wasn't expecting it to do what I love because it's advertised specifically as doing not that. One of the things I don't like about it is the name, Lash Slick. I'm like, no, I don't want Lash Slick. I want lash like sticky and fluffy and floofy and puffy and like, you know, spindly like a beetle's leg. What was I talking about before? I've talked about this recently, like when you rub a beetle's leg the wrong direction and it has that like grippy feeling. A good mascara sort of like makes my lashes like that, like little beetle's legs that they like build together and stick together. I like a tangled lash. I like when it's kind of long and tangled and but full. So the thing I do like about Lash Slick is it gives me that tangled lash, because what it does is it makes the lashes very long and thin looking, and then it does sort of add little like tink, little like splinky, almost like beetle's legs, but like individually rather than like all tangled together. It's like just a few beetle's legs rather than like a whole bunch of them. What it's really good for me, two things. Layering. So when this package first arrived, I was wearing the Milani Highly Rated, which is a mascara that I love. It does all of the things that I was just saying that I want a mascara to do. I had been wearing it all day and it had kind of, the volume was still in the roots, but the length had kind of worn off, you know what I'm talking about? And I took this out and I layered it on top of what was already there, and I was like, I went to Joe, I was like, look at this, I like this so much better than I was expecting to, because it took that volume and it like added to it, and it made the tips of my lashes like long and tangled in this sultry way. It was just like these, like my lashes were just like, oh hi, like hi, you know, they were just like I'm so they were like, how did I get here? I'm so tangled up, you know. And I was just like splink splink, but in this sort of boudoir way, and I was all about that life. So the next morning I got up, I put on my makeup, I had like a clean face, clean lashes. I was so excited, and I went in with this, and it was just like skinny, spindly twigs, really long and skinny, but spindly. And the more I built, the more spindly they became. And I determined that the brush is taking like 3 or 4 lashes and like turning them into just one really skinny thing. So it makes it seem like I have fewer lashes than I do. It works really well for building. I've never liked it on its own on my top lashes. But the other thing that I do really like it for is the bottom lashes. I really like what it does to my bottom lashes. My bottom lashes are very long, and sometimes when I put like my best mascaras on my bottom lashes, it makes me look like I was wearing a striped shirt when I was home for the holidays, and I was wearing a very light makeup look, but I had gone in, this is just like one day during Christmas, I had gone in like pretty hard with the mascara on my top and my bottom lashes, as I do. I just wasn't thinking. I was like, mascara, mascara, mascara. And I was standing in the kitchen trying to decide what to do next, and my sister looked over at me and she was like, you look like a scared mime. And I'm sure she said that I looked like a scared mime because I was wearing a black and white striped shirt. But then later she said that it had also been because I had like these really intense, both upper and lower lashes, like the mime makeup, you know what I mean? And so sometimes when I put regular mascara on my lower lashes, it makes me look like a scared mime. Like it makes me look like, this never does that to my lower lashes. And I've never been the kind of bee to have a dedicated lower lash mascara, but that is going to be the fate of Glossier Lash Slick after I film this video and I no longer feel like I have to keep trying with it on my upper lashes, because I tried. Lord, I tried. I like tried to get it to a point. And I know for me, mascaras too, often they don't really come into their own until like the second or third week. I've been trying for a long time with this, using it day after day after day, hoping it would like dry out and change and like become my dream. It hasn't happened. And so I'm going to stop trying to use it on my upper lashes, but I'm going to continue to use it on my lower lashes. I'm going to be that bee until I've used up this tube, and then I won't be buying it again. So let's talk about the Glossier Play products that I have. I just have two of them. I have this Colorslide eye pencil, and then I also have the sharpener. I love the sharpener. Love. I'm considering getting rid of all my other sharpeners because it keeps everything so neat and tidy, so little mess, and it really does a good job of sharpening pencils. I wouldn't have bought it if I were placing an order from Glossier. I would have been like, I already have sharpeners, but I would go back and tell myself in that situation to buy it. Like I would tell myself to add it to my cart. So I'm glad to be able to say to you, if you don't have like a sharpener that has a container that catches the shards that you really love, if your like pencil sharpening situation in your vanity or in your makeup bag is kind of a mess, this could be more life-changing than you would think and might actually be worth splashing out on if you decide to place a Glossier order at any point. I do recommend this to people who don't have something like this. I'm really glad that I received it. And then the Colorslide, they're good. These days I'm really into the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On eye pencil. I have a black one that I got in PR. I'm kind of thinking about like buying another color. That's how much I love it because it's so soft and gooey. And I'm realizing that for me, for eye pencils, what I really love is one that's so creamy that it like deposits a ton of pigment, like creamy pigment on the waterline. And then I can go in with a pencil brush and actually smudge that pigment out into my eyeshadow. And I also like to draw with it on the outer V, like to draw a little V just like onto my eyelid, and then to smudge that out to kind of create like a sticky base for a deepening shade in the outer corner. The way that I like to use an eye pencil, I like it to be really soft and smudgeable, like a kohl. This isn't that. It's like a standard right in between being really wet and being really dry. So most people absolutely are bananas for this. It's gotten rave reviews all over YouTube. The colors are beautiful. I just put a tiny bit on my lower lash line today just to like define my eyes a little bit. I do like this. This is sort of like a reddish color, disaster class. And so it is red, but it's not like too, it's a beautiful sort of balanced, it's distinctive as red. It's not like too wine colored, but it's not so red. It's not like a chili pepper red. It's just beautiful. I'm glad that I have it. I do use it a lot. I also use it to put my mole back on today, and it's kind of a cute color for putting your mole back on because moles sometimes do lean this red color. I wouldn't buy, if I were placing a Glossier order, another one, I wouldn't buy color slides. I wouldn't put any color slides into my cart. I haven't like fallen for the formula the way that I have for the Urban Decay formula. However, I do think that they're good. And lastly, let's talk about, this is very interesting. So the Generation G, I was an early adopter, as I think I've said, of Glossier. I purchased this when it was freshly released. At that time, I purchased the color Leo because I suspected, I was just sort of starting to understand myself and my feelings and my coloring and my makeup. And it was the first time that I was like, maybe a brown, Hannah. And indeed, I loved the color of that lipstick. I loved it. I would always put it on and just be like, I also got the red zip when it came out, and I really liked that too. It was very beautiful. But that formula, it would just like evaporate off of my lips. I gave it the old college try, especially with Leo, because I loved the way that it looked. And I would put it on, and then I would just like literally like 30 minutes later, when I had done nothing except sit there, it would be gone. It was like my lips soaked it in or something. Whatever they had put in it, maybe it was silicones or they'd put something in it to make it have that blotted effect. It just made it slide right off. I was able to put up with that, especially with the zip. I would apply it and apply it, or no, especially with Leo, I would like apply it and apply it and apply it because I just loved the color so much. But the packaging, the unit that they had was very dinky, and eventually they both broke actually in pretty short order. They both broke. They like wouldn't roll up. They got smashed. It was like cracked, like the lid was cracked. So it was a declutter, I think, during my no-buy year when I was just like, I love these colors and I love the idea of them, and I'm attached to Glossier still. At that time, Glossier hadn't like entirely lost my loyalty. I was like, I'm attached, but these are just like gross now and don't work very well. So I parted with them. When I went to place this order and I started doing some research, I realized that they have reformulated the Generation G lipsticks a number of times, and that these new ones are in a much sturdier, much Glossier
A much Glossier
package. Like, it's a glossy, sturdy, thick bullet. The one thing I don't like about the packaging is that even if it's just rolled up a little bit, if you put it in if you put the lid on, it will smash it. It has to be rolled all the way down into the tube for you to be able to put the lid on, and I found that out the hard way. That's a little bit annoying. I feel like that they could have designed it just to give it a little room. Like, you should be able to have it rolled up a tiny bit and put it in, but no, you have to roll it all the way flat. I also read that they had reformulated, and I heard Mariah Leonard talking about it. I heard Mariah Leonard saying that they had changed the formula and just made it much beefier, much sturdier. And you will see in the footage when I'm putting this on, I layer it on pretty heavily, and it does have that amazing blotted quality where you can layer it and layer it and layer it without it being like shocking. But you'll see that I get quite a dark look when I layered it in the footage, and you'll see I'll like do a little, I'll put in some footage of myself like doing a little voguing right after I put it on. You'll be able to see that it's quite dramatic, and the color is just to die for. I absolutely love it. This is actually a smash hit. The Future Dew is definitely the thing I've loved using the most from this order, but I have also really loved taking this. I've grabbed it a lot. I've worn it a lot just because I wanted to. Like, I was doing it because I wanted to and not because I had to review it for this video. And I've worn it in a bunch of videos so far, thrown it in my bag a lot. It's just great. I'm very happy to be like adding it to my collection. I don't mind that it's like stuff in. It's definitely earning its spot for me. They did a good job. They finally got there, I feel like, with the Generation G. And it's cool too because it's like, it kind of makes it worth it to like revisit, because with the Future Dew and the mascara, I'm not revisiting those products. I've never tried them before. So I'm just like returning to Glossier and trying the products that they've released since I stopped buying them. But with this, I really did give it a second chance. I really did revisit this exact product, and I'm very, very pleasantly surprised by what I've discovered. Curiously, I thought that this would be one of the things. This is the balm.com, the rose one, and this was, again, given to me at BeautyCon. I thought that I would strongly dislike this. I had the coconut one for a long time. I like made a lot of progress on that. I used it like way, almost all the way up. I didn't really love the coconut smell on that. And I also didn't find it to be that special. Like, everyone talks about how it's like this amazing moisturizing thing. It's just like Vaseline, you know? It's just like occlusive. It's just petroleum jelly. But Vaseline occlusiveness is actually, it can be really good if your lips are moisturized underneath it. And the thing that has surprised me, I like the rose one way better. I like the tint. I like the sensorial experience of using it way better than I liked the coconut one. So I've just been much more fond of this than I ever was of the balm.com that I bought myself all those years ago. The sheen that it gives to the lips is very beautiful. I have it on now, as you saw when I rolled the footage. I applied it after I applied Leo, and it makes this sort of blotted matte-ish formula, it makes it look sort of like a balmy gloss, and it looks really beautiful. It looks very sensual. It works really well to like juice up your lips if your lips are dry partway through the day but still have some color on them from some kind of lipstick. It just surprised me. I was gonna give this away. It was like in my giveaway box. It was similar to this. I pulled it and then I inventoried it. I pulled it to use for this project because I was like, oh, if I'm giving Glossier a second chance, I should try that thing that I was gonna give away. And I'm really, really glad that I did. I'm glad. I like it. I don't think I would buy it. Like, this is only nourishing in that it traps the moisture in and doesn't let it evaporate. It's not actually like giving good stuff to your lips, to your skin, to your lip skin. So if I were to buy a lip balm for myself, I would buy one that has like intense healing properties, like a really, really, really good one. This isn't that to me. It's a little bit more fun. It's almost as though I enjoy it more for its cosmetic properties than I do for its actual like lip balm or lip nourishing properties, but I've been enjoying it a lot for its cosmetic properties. And a lot of times over the past couple of weeks since I started trying these things for review, many days I've put on this Leo at the end of my makeup routine. It's a nice neutral for me, like doesn't compete with other things, no matter what other shades I'm wearing on my face. And I'll throw this in my bag because I'm wearing it, and then I'll throw this in my bag in case my lips get a little dry, and I'll go and I'll like apply them both throughout the day. So this has been a great little duo. I've been really, really pleased with that. And I like the look that I came up with today. I was really feeling myself in my robe, my new robe. I replaced my robe, you guys. I was really feeling myself. I'll talk about it at the end of the month, the robe. Don't worry. I like the Glossier look. I love how it all comes together with the Future Dew. And I've had all of these products sitting on top of my vanity for weeks now, and I have not felt put upon when it comes to using them in order to get familiar with them. I feel like what happened was I gave Glossier a second chance, and they won a little bit of my heart back. I am never going to go back to being the girl who purchases every new thing that Glossier releases. I am never going to do that. And I'm not that interested in the products that I decided not to try, like the bubble wrap and the glitters and the highlight. I thought about purchasing like the highlighting drops, but I was never really impressed by any of the swatches of those. Like I just didn't want to try it. I just didn't want to. I'm much more interested in something like Future Dew, where there's like that really glossy look. So there are a lot of things they've released since I last bought anything from them that I'll never buy. I don't really want to try. If there's anything you think that I would like, let me know. I'm like a little bit more interested in Glossier right now. Glossier is the definition of a hit or miss brand, in my opinion. And because of that, I don't feel like I can say that I think it's a good brand or I think it's not a good brand. I cannot turn my nose up at any brand that created a thing like this. And the cloud paints also, it's like one of the winningest formulas of the last couple of years, like really stand out. So when they do it right, then they do it really, really exquisitely well. I feel like it's like the girl who had the little curl right in the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was horrid. And I wouldn't call the complexion products horrid. It's like when she was good, she was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was lackluster. And when she was bad, she was subpar and not worth the price that they charge. I love the things that I love a lot, but I feel like it's not worth spending as much as I spent back in the day trying absolutely everything, because as much as it kind of feels lightweight and like candy, as much as it feels like young and therefore not luxury, like they really take pains to make it not feel luxury, it adds up, y'all. I learned that the hard way, and I wish I could go back and change it. I wish I could take it back. I wish I could go back and prevent myself from buying all that Glossier stuff. I mean, at least I was able to give like a relatively thorough brand review in this video, but the AdSense from this video is not going to make up for even like any kind of reasonable fraction of what I spent on Glossier back in the day when it was new and I was young and naive and really excited. I mean, I wasn't even that young. I was like 29. So quick recap, my tippy toppy favorites are the Future Dew, the Generation G lipstick in Leo, and the Cloud Paint in Dusk. Everything else I've ever tried from Glossier, I could really take it or leave it, mostly leave it, except for the moisturizing moon mask, which I don't have on hand. That's the other thing. So by revisiting Glossier, by giving them a second chance, the products that I quite love from them have doubled. I've gone from having 2 that I loved, which is the Cloud Paint and the Moon Mask, to having 4 that I loved. And it has been a really good experience to buy some stuff for review. I don't begrudge myself the $18 or whatever it was I spent on the mascara. That's technically a waste because I don't really love it. I don't begrudge myself that. I feel like there is a place for this kind of video in my life and on my channel, and I hope that you guys agree. I hope that you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you think of Glossier. Let me know what you think of this stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to Nina Campbell. Go visit her because really she is the reason that this all happened. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.